hit that sub button, guys. Wllder's in the decline, man. It's pretty obvious to me. Wllder is on the slide. And if I'm going to give some advice to, or a suggestion to Deontay Wllder fans. If I was you guys, I would be going around scouting, looking for another guy that I could start saying that Anthony Joshua was avoiding and start calling the boogeyman. You know what I'm saying? As you Deontay Wllder fans do. And dick ride him, because your boy Deontay Wllder, he's not getting any younger. He's starting to look his age. And, you know, last year was very... it was very clear to me that Deontay Wllder was getting old. You know, if you look at both of his fights last year, against Fury and against Luis Ortiz, he looked terrible in both of those fights. He looked terrible. Okay? People love talking about the fact that Deontay Wllder dropped Luis Ortiz and he stopped him. People love talking about the fact that Deontay Wllder dropped Tyson Fury in the last 30 seconds of the 12th round. But look at the actual performances. Look at how he actually was able to compete with these dudes. Like, Wllder was getting his ass whooped against Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz was whooping Wilder's ass. Luis Ortiz is a middle-aged man. How the hell are you the #1 heavyweight and you're getting your ass whooped by a middle-aged man? Like, you're getting your ass whooped by a 40-something-year-old man. That's not a good look. That's age, people. Wilder's an old 33, man. I'm telling you, he's old. He looked bad in that fight. Not just because of his skill set, but because of his age. He wasn't even fast enough to land his right hand on... How you not fast enough to land your right hand on a 40-year-old Luis Ortiz, man? It took him 12 rounds to land his right hand flush on Tyson Fury. 12 rounds. A guy who wasn't even active for 3 years. A guy who was fat in that fight. Wilder's in the decline. Okay? He's been a fighter, a professional fighter for 11 years. Okay? He's going to be 34 this year. Right? I make a prediction right here. I'll make a prediction right here. I predict that by 2021, people will be saying Wllder should retire. I predict that. Mid-2021. You know, I'm not psychic. But in boxing, fighters get old overnight. And I think Wilder's time is soon over. I think the Wllder era, the Bomb Squad era, is coming to an end. All right? I don't know who's going to beat Wllder. But if it's not Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury could very well beat him. If it's not him, it will be Anthony Joshua. If it's not him, it will be another guy. But once Deontay Wllder loses, I don't see him... I see his career being over, because the fact he's the WBC champion, right? The minute he loses that belt, it's over for him. Because then he's going to have to work himself back to get a title shot. And by then, he'll be even older. Right? So, you know, I just think that Wllder, you know, fighters tend to get old after the age of 35. Some of them earlier. And Wllder, to me, is coming across as an old fighter now. Because, like I said, he even said it in the press conference of the Tyson Fury match. He said, I couldn't find him. I wanted to throw my right hand, but I couldn't let my right hand go. I wanted to. That's something that an old fighter says. I wanted to let my right hand go and land on a guy, but I couldn't do it. You ever see those fighters that when they're like past those like all-time greats, Hall of Famers, when they're past their best, and they say, I wanted to fight back, but I couldn't do it. Muhammad Ali said that when he was fighting Larry Holmes, he could see the punches. He could see the punches. He could see the opportunities where he could counter Larry Holmes. But he said that his body couldn't do it, though. It's like he could think it, but his body wasn't fast enough to react to it. You know? Many fighters say stuff like this where, especially when they get older, where they could think, they could see the punches coming, but they couldn't do it. Wilder said that he could see Tyson Fury. He said himself, he said that it looked like Tyson Fury was moving in slow motion. Remember that? Remember he said that in the post fight. In the post fight, it looked like Tyson Fury was moving in slow motion, but for some reason I couldn't catch him. That's what he said. He said I could see Tyson Fury, and it looked like it was so easy. It looked like he said it looked like I was fighting him underwater, but for some reason I couldn't let my punches go. I couldn't let my punches, off. I couldn't land my right hand. That's, in my opinion, evidence that Deontay Wllder is starting to decline. On top of that, he looked terrible in his last 2 fights. And when you start talking like that, where you can't let your punches go, you can't get your punches off, combinations off, that's the signs of a fighter who's declining. So I think Deontay Wllder's time is almost up again. It might, again, I don't see Wllder being a champion for much longer. I don't see his career going on for much longer. I think Deontay Wllder was one of those guys that depended on his foot speed, on his athleticism a lot. But with age, especially when you're in your 30s, that starts declining. You start getting hit way more. And Wllder's starting to look really bad in his fights. He got hit a lot against Tyson Fury. He got hit a lot against Luis Ortiz. I'm sorry, fam, but the Wllder hype train is coming to an end soon. And yeah, man. So I have to say, thanks for watching. Watch people start saying Wllder need to retire in 2 years. I'm out. Bye-bye.